Welcome back to Yang Daily. I'll be your host, Alex Cheney, bringing you all the Yang news you need to live your life right. Fairly short one today. I can finally say that there are no bombshells this time. I know, I needed a break too. Some news at the end about the podcast as well. Let's get to it. I just realized we never talked about the update to unemployment. Jobs numbers did improve significantly in June, though headline unemployment remains higher by percentage than at the peak of the Great Depression at about 11%. And as we've discussed previously, headline unemployment never captures the full damage for multiple reasons. It's also been observed that even as temporary job losses decline, permanent job losses hit a new high. None of this has stopped Trump and his right-wing propagandists from crowing about the slight rebound as though it were massive growth, rather than a return of only a fraction of what's been lost, of course. Moreover, these numbers only cover up to before the resurgence of COVID cases caused lockdown orders to be reinvoked in the South. Unless Trump's oft-expressed dream of COVID magically disappearing comes true, we can expect to see a regression in these job numbers, whether just a reduction in progress or outright loss of jobs in July. But worse than Trump are the GOP senators, like unfortunate Scott Santon's own Bill Cassidy, who are using the, quote, great, end quote, unemployment numbers, again, worse than any point in the Great Depression is apparently great to them, as an excuse to deny further stimulus. After waiting to see through June, they now want to wait and see through July as well, all while the pandemic ravages the South, destroying the economy in the process. At this point, it seems that the Republican Senate is determined to see the economy burn to the ground, and the poor and middle class along with it. More than Great Depression levels of unemployment, record high infection rates, closing economies, permanent job losses on the rise, and a recession projected to run the next decade is absolutely not the time to be holding back on spending, you idiots. As always, Income Movement has us covered with a new letter to Congress urging them to adopt universal basic income as the next stimulus bill. Please take 1 minute to follow the link below and send their pre-written letter. Someone pointed me to a defund and demilitarize police petition that I missed back in June. It's specifically aimed at stopping the military donation program to police, but also mentions defunding. Link below. Amal for Yang has started a Twitter thread to gauge support for launching a UBIPrints website in the same vein as YangPrints, but for UBI promotional material. He wants to know if people would be willing to donate to fund it. If that's you, follow the link below and leave him a comment. The 4-Day Workweek campaign has put together a brief video argument for the 4-day, 32-hour workweek that does a pretty good job arguing for it. Check it out, share it, and bookmark it if you like it. Scott wrote an article for A Day in the Life in the Year 2040 in a Future with UBI. It's a pretty stark departure from life now for most of us, but in a good way. I do wonder how many will read it with a sense of fear, literally of the freedom inherent within. I wonder if freedom itself is not what many fear about UBI, the responsibility of finding purpose and meaning in one's own aspirations, rather than having their life structured by an employer. Is this what drives some retired people crazy? Anyway, the article is short, so I'll let you read it yourself. Link below. Erica Rhodes dropped by Matt's virtual office for an interview on how she got into politics, the George Floyd protests, and her burgeoning campaign. And Nerds for Humanity interviewed Congressman Tim Ryan on Yang, UBI, Trump, and gridlock, as well as new innovations like regenerative agriculture and social and emotional learning. Sounds pretty cool. Hope I get a chance to listen. Russ Orencione's primary is coming up fast, and he needs all the phone banking time we can give him. If you have a few minutes to spare, hop on the link below and give him a strong final push going into the big day, which is July 7th. Finally, I've decided that I'm going to take a couple days off for July 4th festivities, and more so to get all the life stuff done that I've been meaning to do for weeks but haven't had time with the podcast. Everyday news is no joke. I think this will be the first day of news that I've missed since starting the podcast months ago. Hope you all understand and hope you have a great 4th of July. And that'll do it for today's Yang Daily. Send your letter to Congress, sign the police petition, let Amal know about UBI Prints, and spread the word. Check out the 4-Day Week video and Scott's UBI article. Consider supporting Russ. Help advocate for clear, fundamental policy goals for the protests. If you're going out to protest, wear protection, especially on your eyes, head, and throat. If you get arrested while protesting, remember not to say anything without a lawyer. Whatever you choose to do, be wise, be safe, and act with measured purpose toward real solutions. And don't forget to Yang Daily.